That's where the rankings,
I know.
shit just gets in my head.
Yeah.
Because I look at it and I'm like, man, Hermansson's fucking a genius, and he's great, and he's a genius on the ground, and he's good standing up, and blah, blah, blah. Look at what he did to Gaslam. I mean, he put him in the ankle lock. That's important, but in the rankings-wise, what does it mean?
Yeah.
Because Vettori just came in at number 15 and starts the number 4.
Yep.
That's why rankings, it doesn't... MMA math does not work.
It never does.
No.
And that's why anybody, if you're in the top 15, I mean, you could match people together.
Yeah.
Anyone can win.
Yeah.
On any given day.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think that as far as that division goes, you give Vettori Costa, you let Izzy play in the light heavyweight, see what happens there. If he loses, though, man, but is he taking a big risk?
It's like okay, he went up and fought the champion at light heavyweight.
He fought
and
somebody.
Lost. Big deal.
Now
come back down and clean out your division.
Yeah.
So I don't think he loses too much stock.
I don't think so either.
But if he wins, I think he fucking shoots to the stars, man.
Yeah.
Because now he's a two-way champion.
But then what do they do? Do they set up Vettori and Costa for the interim?
Yeah, because he'd be gone for a while.
He's going to be gone. I mean, it's all dependent on this one person who's a star. You don't want to lose him in the division, but also if he wants to go play ball.
What's going on with Whitaker, though? He's ranked number 1, isn't he? He's still ranked number 1.
Yeah, he's still number
under
1.
The champion.
So it's like, I don't know. That division is so stacked, and there's so many great fighters in that division. I don't know.
Yeah.
But looking forward, obviously, there's a big card coming up with UFC 256.
Love it.
That is a huge card. When it comes to star-studded power, there's some big names on here, which we're going to go over. But on top of that, it's just one of those cards that... And
look at that main card.
I know.
That main card is pretty tasty right there.
Yeah. And looking at this card, I think even from a casual's perspective, they're going to see Mackenzie Dern. They're going to see Cub Swanson. They're going to see Charles Oliveira and Tony Ferguson. And I think that there's going to be good numbers from the preliminary card on up.
Sure.
Even JDS versus Gain to kick off the main card. But what are some fights on this card that stick out to you the most?
Hands down, and look, the main event, deservingly so, it's a title fight, of course.
Yeah.
And they just fought a month ago.
Yeah.
Davison Figueiredo, he's a stud, for sure. Tony Ferguson, I already knew that was your answer.
Yeah.
Tony Ferguson, Charles Oliveira is MMA fans' dream fight.
Oh, there's nothing better than that. I mean, when you think of cards that really stick out, Ferguson and Oliveira could easily headline a fight night. Easily.
Doubt.
And do huge numbers, I would think.
No doubt.
They're both 2 star-studded names that just stick out. Ferguson's 25-4, Oliveira's 29-8. Oliveira's running a 7-fight win streak with all wins by finishes.
All finishes.
Ferguson, sure, he's coming off of the Justin Gaethje loss, but that to me, when I look at this entire card, and obviously, I mean, you've even got Chase Hopper, little Ben Askren fighting.
Yeah, baby Ben Askren.
Yeah, you got Tisa Torres fighting Angela Hill.
That's a great fight.
You've got Lee, who's fighting. I mean, there's...
And then your boy Kevin Holland.
And
Jacare Souza.
But to me, the most important fight on this card, sure, there's a title fight, but the Tony Ferguson.
It's the co-main event, no doubt.
Now, you posted a prediction video.
I did.
I don't want to spoil the prediction.
Yep.
But I want to know who you think would win and why. And they can check out the video.
That's fine. They can watch the video.
If they want to see your beautiful face, they can check it out
I think
online.
we're posting it later this week or whatever.
Yeah. It's on the website right now.
Yeah, it is actually on the website now.
Who do you think between Ferguson and Oliveira?
I'm just going to tell you who I picked in my prediction video. And don't hate me for this. I did pick Charles Oliveira. I did. And I made sure to mention.
How dare you!
I made sure in the video to mention that. Look,
how dare you!
I'm a huge Tony Ferguson fan. I love Tony Ferguson. But I just feel like
no,
he took so much damage, dude.
I know, man.
He took so much damage, and I know. Here's the thing. He tends to get hit a lot. That's bad.
Yeah.
And when they go to the ground, it's going to cancel each other out because Oliveira has the most submissions in UFC history.
I know.
Okay. I just think with the momentum of the 7-fight win streak, all by finish. And by the way, he doesn't finish Tony Ferguson. I said it'll be a decision. He'll edge out a decision win. It's only 3 rounds. I wish it was 5 rounds.
I know. Here's the thing. This is the key definition of a fight where you need to use your brain over your heart.
I know.
And that is where I agree with you.
Right.
I think Oliveira is going to win.
Look, when I do these prediction videos, I have favorite fighters too, and my heart is like,
This one hurts though.
Yeah,
this one hurts because like Ferguson was on a 12-fight win streak before the Gaethje fight,
and I predicted the Gaethje thing too. I was like, Justin Gaethje just seemed like a bad matchup for him because he tends to get hit a lot, and Gaethje fucking hits hard.
Yeah, he does. He hits hard. He puts you out. Ferguson lasted. He lasted a lot longer than what I thought he was going to.
Now,
once I started seeing the fight the way that it was going, I was like, this isn't looking good.
Right.
Yeah, but if Oliveira wins, he has to fight the winner of Poirier and McGregor.
He's right there.
He has to.
Look, he's been my dark horse in the lightweight. I've got dark horses in every division, but for the lightweight division, Charles Oliveira, man, I've been watching him for a while. That's my guy, man.
Yeah, I think he's
good.
I think when it comes to division leaders right now, and again the rankings and all that, Oliveira is ranked number 6.
Yeah.
Why? Like he's on a 7-fight win streak. All finishes. I mean, he dismantled Kevin Lee.
Yeah.
It's not like he's not facing top contenders. So the fact that he comes in, is on a 7-fight win streak, but not only a win streak, but again, finishes. Like, he's finishing top contenders, you know?
The problem with him, and not that he has a problem, is he's in the lightweight division, which is always jammed up at the top 5.
It's all killers.
And it's always just jammed up at the top 5.
I think that he does end up winning, and I would think that, I mean, let's be honest, if Ferguson does win, he's got a better chance at fighting either Poirier or McGregor. I mean, it's just based off of UFC star power.
Yes.
But yeah, that's a very interesting fight.
I'm just interested, to see how he looks after that damage he took with Justin Gaethje, and it wasn't that long ago.
No,
I want to say it was only
not
2 months, 2-3 months.
Yeah,
it wasn't that long ago.
That was. I tell you what, there's fights that I watch and they're entertaining and they're fun and they're great. And then there's certain fights that I watch and it's like, it's heartbreaking. That was a fight that was heartbreaking.
It was.
That was a fight to where I was like, I want this to stop. This makes me uncomfortable because you're watching someone like Ferguson who deals that damage.
Yeah.
Like I expected, I wanted, between Ferguson and Gaethje, those are my 2 favorites in the UFC right now. I didn't want either one of them to fight each other.
Right.
But when I looked at that fight, I'm like, man, I mean.
Well, the part where he ran after getting hit.
And he shook his head.
Right.
And it was like, no!
That was actually the single creepiest part of the entire fight.
That was.
Because he didn't, at that moment, you knew he didn't know where he was or
it was like he was shaking blood out of his ear or something. You know? Like it wasn't human.
I call it that moment, that's when Justin Gaethje stole his fucking soul.
Oh, yeah.
I'm serious.
No,
man.
he did.
That's
he
what
did.
he did.
When he hit him and he kind of like wobbled back and shook his head, he was trying to get his equilibrium straight, and then he did it again. And then
that's when the ref jumped in and called it.
And you know what? Herb Dean is one of the greatest referees in MMA history.
Yep.
I mean, seriously.
He's one of the GOATs.
Yeah.
For sure.
When it comes down to referees that know when to stop and know when to keep going and know when to give that fighter that extra couple of punches or just say, hey, it's done. There's nobody like Herb Dean.
Yeah, he's top dog right there.
Yeah. So
him and Mark Goddard.
Yeah, that's a very exciting fight. And then coming off of a 21-day notice, from UFC 255, Figueiredo and Moreno fighting each other. Both got first-round finishes at UFC 255. Now they're fighting each other.
I know. It's another. Obviously, I predicted this fight as well. I mean, Davis and Figueiredo, man.
I don't think anybody's beating him for a while.
Yeah, I did also predict, though, Moreno is going to be a tougher fight than Alex Perez.
Do you think it goes to decision?
No. I really don't think it does.
Really?
Dude, Figueiredo's just... He's got bad intentions, man. Yeah. He just does.
I think you're correct. And I will say, yes, Figueiredo does beat Moreno. I think it's a later round stoppage, though.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, what, maybe
that's kind of what, I said 3rd or 4th round, just because of his toughness isn't going to get him through. Moreno's toughness is going to get him through.
Yeah.
But he's He's dangerous everywhere. He really is.
And then, of course, the Alligator Man, Jacare Souza. Holland, that's another key fight on the card.
That's one. I don't always predict the entire card,
Yeah.
but I pick and choose certain fights, and that's one of the ones I predicted. And I hate for your boy, man. I know you love
You
Holland.
think Souza's going to beat Holland?
Dude.
What?
I said.
What?
And I said by submission.
Oh, don't do me like that, man.
I just think it's a little too much too soon.
You know what?
Look, and
man. This is the heart and brain
I know.
fighting again.
It really is, but how about this? I'm rooting for Holland. I love that story.
Oh, that hurts me.
If he could finish out the year with 5
Jacare's
wins,
like 90-something years old, though.
I know. I just think it's too much too soon for him.
Yeah.
They're kind of throwing him to the Gators, man.
But if he beats Jacare,
oh my God,
they're going to throw him up to a big fight.
Yeah,
they're going to give him a top 5.
That's a huge name on the resume. That looks great for him.
Yeah.
Only big things for him from there.
Do you think, you saying that, now it just makes me think the bell kicks off, the fight goes. I mean, it's...
Look, if it stays standing, Holland's winning that fucking fight.
But I just feel like...
Just that one chance if they, get to the ground, Jesus, I don't think he stands a fucking chance.
Yeah, I think so. Well, and I mean, look at what Darren Stewart did to Holland.
Yeah.
Like, it was embarrassing. And, Stewart...
You actually thought he won.
Yeah, I did. I did. It was like...
But hey, screw it. Holland got the win.
Holland got the win. Good on him. He's going for 5 in a row in 2020, which is just insane.
Yeah.
He'll set a UFC record along with a couple other fighters by doing that. But then you have JDS fighting Gain. Gain 6-0. JDS reaching the end of his career. I mean, let's be honest. Like, JDS has had some really good fights over the years. He's had some really big fights over the years. But when it comes down to it, he's 21-8. I mean, when you look at the history of his fights, he's 0-3. But when you think about it, he's 0-3 against Ngannou, Curtis Blades, and Rosenstrike.
I mean, no shame in that.
Like, come on, man.
But here's the thing. This is a good test for Gain, but also, this is the UFC feeding them to the young lions.
Yeah.
They do that.
Okay, but here's the thing. They just talked about cutting 60 fighters, and we're going to talk about that. JDS loses this fight, he's out.
They're waiting for this card and then maybe the last card of the year, December 19th card, to see who were the losers.
Bro, imagine if you're fighting that, and we'll talk about that in a second. But imagine you're thinking that you're like, and I've worked radio jobs where it's been like that, where the ratings come out and you're like, man, I hope ratings are good this book, because if not, I'm cut. You know, it's like, it sucks. It's the worst feeling ever. Imagine putting your job on the line and you have to go in the cage and fight with another human being to prove, give me one more shot.
Now, I will say, I don't think the younger guys have much to worry about. This seems like the older guys have a lot to worry about.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's talk about that right now.
Or if you're on a big losing streak.
First of all, I want to get your predictions. JDS, Gain, you think Gain's got this?
I think Gain wins.
Yeah. I mean, when I think of Gain, I think of someone who is fresh. I mean, he's 30 years old, but he beat, Tanner Bozer. Mm-hmm. That was his last fight, and that was, a year. It'll be coming up almost a year. Yep. And not really a whole lot of recognition when it comes to other fighters that he's had, in the octagon. But he beats JDS.
This is a big name. This is a big name. And that's the reason the UFC's booked that fight.
Yeah. Now, looking at the rest of the card, obviously you brought it up a couple times. Mackenzie Dern coming back. She had a great fight and a recent fight, too. She's now 9-1. She had that submission against Marcos.
Her hands are getting better because we all know she's jiu-jitsu master.
Yes, and I love Mackenzie Dern.
Me too.
When I think of fighters that have a great career, but maybe, Ribas was no joke going into that fight. No. She got submitted, or she lost that in decision.
Yeah, decision.
Losing that fight, I feel like she had. Did she just had her child? I think, or maybe she was on her way.
I think it was after this fight because I think she already had the kid during the Amanda Ribas fight.
Yes. So I mean, that's a lot of bullshit in your head.
I just remember thinking in my head like, damn, Amanda Ribas, you're beating up a mom, man.
Yeah.
I was really thinking that.
It's terrible.
I mean, it's true.
But yeah, I think that, she's a great addition to the card. Cub Swanson, which is kind of crazy. Like when you look at UFC fighters, and even, he was a WEC fighter.
He was.
He was a badass back in the day. And
Hell
now
yeah, he was.
he's the 5th fight. He's all the way, he's kind of in the middle.
But he's on a losing okay, he beat Kron Gracie.
Yep.
But then he lost 4 before
I
that.
know, but like Shane Burgos, that dude's no joke. Frankie Edgar, Brian
Yeah.
Ortega.
Right.
If they cut Cub Swanson because he loses to